This is the Money Loves Women podcast, the podcast that guides women to wealth and an extraordinary life. Here's your host, Dr. Deborah Ekstrom.
This is Dr. Deborah Ekstrom for the Money Loves Women podcast. Today I'm coming to you solo, and we're going to talk about some interesting questions that people have around financial advisors, wealth advisors, and others who come into your life to help you with your financial situation. So I think the very first question we need to talk about, and then some ancillary questions: do you need a financial advisor? And if you do, what should they be doing for you? And beyond that, what are the pros and cons of having one, and how are you going to be able to best utilize one if you decide to have one? So let's go to the first question. Do I need a financial advisor? And that question is answered by maybe yes or maybe no. So it depends a bit on you. Regardless of whether you hire a financial advisor or not, you need to be financially astute. What does that mean? That means you need to get a financial education. So you might say, oh, if I have a financial advisor, they can really direct me and teach me and show me what I need to do. And some of that is true. However, if you don't know the right questions to ask, or if you're too shy to ask them or worried about looking dumb, you're just not going to get the money value out of your financial advisor. So let's talk about the first. Do I need one? Lots of people don't really need a financial advisor. They have their direction. They've made their goals. They have discipline around their money. They know what they want. They know how to find the resources to help them direct themselves, and they have good financial background. That's the minority, perhaps. And then after that, you have to decide if you are going to be the one running your money, or is someone else going to do a lot of that for you. So on one extreme, you have people who turn everything over to their financial advisor, particularly their retirement account, and depend on their financial advisor to invest it well. And on the first extreme, then, you have people who don't use a financial advisor at all and educate themselves continuously, set their goals, put a spending plan together, and move forward. And that works too, if you're the right sort of person. So most people are sort of in the middle. Let's just say you're going to see your financial advisor. You've found one, and that's also a good question. How do you find a good financial advisor? And I think one of the ways to find them is by word of mouth. You can check out their reputation online, see what people are saying about them. If you have friends who have financial advisors, you can ask them what sort of relationship they have with that person. How did they find them? What has their track record been? What does that person do for them? And you can see if it fits for you. I would definitely interview them and try them out a bit before you take them on full time. Financial advisors come in a couple different packages. Some of them charge you a flat rate, and others charge you by a percent of what they are managing for you. And I would suggest that a financial advisor, just almost very few of them, can really influence your outcome in that way. So if you're paying someone a percentage of your money, even if that sounds like a small amount of a percentage, that's going to change the way your money compounds. So make sure that that's worth it, because compounding works in both directions, if you save or if you're paying someone. So if you can't compound because someone's taking fees at a pretty continuous rate for so-called managing your money, and they can't guarantee to you that they can get positive return, they're getting paid whether they lose money or your fund loses money or gains money, that probably is not money well spent. Lots of financial advisors work with particular companies and have a limited number of products to offer you in order for you to invest. So know that also. You may not have full access to the things that you might like. And unless you know what those various products are, you won't really be able to get too far. There's also this word floating around about financial advisors, and that's fiduciary. And what fiduciary actually means is someone who makes decisions that are in your best financial interest. And there are many ethical advisors out there who follow that directive. The problem is, though, who's watching and who's checking? And if you're not checking because you don't know, and I'm not sure that it's that easy to check, then you don't know if someone's making financial decisions in your best interests or not, especially if you are not financially savvy. Now, no one knows everything about everything, obviously. And in finance, that's also true. So there are people who can advise you on insurance. There's people who can advise you on trusts. There's people who can advise you on your retirement plans. So you may need more than one person in your corner for your finances. And that's entirely reasonable. As your finance grows, you'll need more people. So how do you start with a financial advisor? You found your financial advisor, you asked around, you found someone that several of your friends like, or that has very good reviews, and you're interested in working with that person. You're compatible after you've interviewed them, and you feel like they have your best interests. You feel like you can trust this person, at least from your initial interactions. So you go ahead with that financial advisor, and the first thing to do is sit down and figure out your goals, your financial goals. And it's a good idea to sit down before you go see your financial advisor and ask yourself a question even before what are your goals, and that is why? Why do you want to go in a certain direction? And when you answer the why, there should be a second sheet of paper that talks about your fears. When you bring your fears to the surface, so perhaps you have a fear of losing all your money and ending up on the street, becoming a bag lady. Perhaps you have a fear of losing your friends if you're financially successful. Maybe you have a fear that you'll never be able to retire and you don't want to deal with the whole thing. Maybe you have fear that you can't really trust and aren't safe with any financial person. Or maybe you're afraid that you'll be seen as being ignorant, that you don't know enough and you think you should know more. Maybe that person thinks you should know more and you're afraid that you'll be judged. So these are all reasonable fears and things that need to be addressed. So bring those to the surface and address them, and then sit down and do your goals. And you want to know why you're doing certain things. Not because you're afraid, though. Let's not do things because we're afraid. Let's do things because we're positive and are moving in a positive direction. Just know that having fear around money and emotion around money is absolutely natural and normal and happens to everyone, no matter what their financial status or situation. It seems to be able to be more controlled if you have knowledge. So knowledge is a great hedge against fear. Remember that your financial advisor is also a teacher to you. If you have a financial advisor who's not willing to be your teacher, you need to look further. At the same time, your financial advisor is not the person who's your textbook. So make sure that you know what you're talking about before you go in. So educate yourself as much as you can, and then be able to ask intelligent questions. So you ask things that are really going to be valuable to you and valuable for your financial advisor to impart. And you'll get much better value from your advisor if you're using one. There's lots and lots of marketing being done in the field of finance. Lots of marketing. And some of the marketing suggests that, first of all, this is a very complex topic. And the second thing, that you couldn't possibly be smart enough to do this yourself. And nothing could be further from the truth. So just know this is a skill that's probably not as hard as lots of things you've learned. And it's really to your advantage to learn about your finance and to work with them. There's specialists within financial advisors, and there are some, especially female financial advisors, who advise particularly women who have had a major life change, such as a divorce, a death of a spouse. And that's a time when you're quite vulnerable and others could take advantage of you. So it's smart to prepare in advance for any possible thing that could happen in your life in terms of a financial change. And then engage someone who is particularly skilled at getting you through that. The financial industry is probably not as needed in terms of advising as everyone thinks. So as I said, they will tell you, or at least their marketing will tell you, that this is very complicated and you can't possibly be smart enough to know this stuff. So if you are working with a financial advisor who throws a lot of acronyms at you and is arrogant or supercilious or otherwise treats you as if you can't do this and can't learn this, I would run as fast as I could in the other direction, because there's plenty of good ones out there who, in fact, will take you on and be happy to teach you and keep you from making emotional decisions. So financial advisors can be very helpful when it comes time to, first of all, making your goals, and then setting up your strategies for achieving those goals, setting timelines, and keeping you on track. So it helps make you hold yourself accountable because you have a partner in doing that. And that can be very, very helpful. At the same time, you need to be careful about what your financial advisor is insisting on doing for you, and recognize that that is how they make their money too. It's not flat fee, it's by taking a portion of your wealth. So keep that in mind. I think it's really, really smart for you to learn a particular area of wealth building so that you are prepared as you accumulate wealth, accumulate funds, retirement account, and in other ways. So you are prepared to handle it yourself if you have the interest and the desire. And you certainly can find out things like how fast you can retire and how different that's going to be if you're not paying fees as a percent of the money that's being so-called managed. So keep that in mind. And remember that you need to ask your financial advisor a number of questions. The first one is, how do you get paid? The second one is, do you have special certifications? And just so you are aware, because many people are not aware of this, after you get certifications with the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they are not allowed to talk to you in a way that suggests that you can have low risk, high return investments. They could lose their license. So they are not allowed to say that or to think that. And the reason is they have been trained in a particular method of thinking about investing, and especially the stock market. They have been trained that the stock market is rational. And the rational part is the part that we have issue with, because the stock market reflects people, they're buying and they're selling, and institutions, they're buying and they're selling. In fact, the institutions in the stock market are 85% of the ownership of those portions of business, those so-called equities or stocks. So just know that the financial advisor who has that certificate, and financial advising is somewhat fragmented, so there's all kinds of different kinds of people, but the people that have that are limited in what they're allowed to say to you as soon as they have that. And they are well educated in how to stay within the law when they are doing what they need to do for you, if they're investing money for you. But they are not necessarily highly educated in actual investing itself, in making your money grow. They may not have great expertise, or they may. So financial advising ranges from everything from tax strategies and tax planning, and there are specialists in that area, and some of them are CPAs, to legal, which has to do with estates and trusts and wills and medical directives and choosing the people that will take care of those things for you, developing your philosophy around that. And then there's your retirement funds, which is what is of biggest interest to most people, getting some coordination and guidance and direction on that. And then remember that emotion is such a big piece of money that it's very helpful if you have a good relationship with your financial planner or your financial advisor, such that they help you take emotion out of the equation. And that's about the fears, right? The fears, and when things change in the market or things change with your portfolio being the places that you're invested, that when things change, that you don't become emotional about it. And when you have goals and strategies and education, let's not fail to emphasize the education. When you are educated, you're not going to be as emotional because you're better going to be able to understand what's going on. So that's my little spiel about financial advisors. I hope it was helpful. I want you to look deeper into financial advising and what can and can't happen with financial advising. But remember that you need multiple people as you grow your wealth to help you with your financial advising. So a financial advisor, if you have a lot of wealth, you may need a wealth management team. You need an attorney who specializes in trusts so that your money's protected, and that is part of taking responsibility for your money to put that in place. No one likes to think about when they're no longer here. So again, an emotional fear and piece that needs to be dealt with. You will need insurance advice. Your financial advisor may be able to advise you on what types of insurance are important for you and in what order, but you will probably need to buy your insurance from someone who specializes in that area. So keep track of all those different pieces. They will grow. You will grow in capability and competence as you begin working with your finances, but don't be afraid. The thing to do is get started. If you're not disciplined on your own and need an accountability partner, then go find yourself a financial advisor, a money advisor who can help you coordinate your plan and put everything in order for your life. So this is Dr. Deborah Ekstrom from the Money Loves Women podcast. Financial advising, there it is. You don't necessarily need one. If you are willing to get a financial education, you can invest your money on your own if you learn how to do it. And you can do very, very well. Remember that Dr. Warren Buffett, he is a doctor in a way. Warren Buffett said that if he only had $1 million, he could double it. But he has way more than that, and he can't be that agile. However, you can be agile, and you can be in and out of the market if you want to learn the market in depth. That information is out there. There's teachers available to you, and it's doable. I'm in training right now. It's harder for me because the technical stuff challenges me, but for most people, that's not a challenge, and it's all information that you can be taught. You can learn this stuff. So have confidence. It doesn't matter where you're starting from. Wherever you're starting from is where you are. And just continue forward and continue to educate yourself. Learn about finance. Learn about your personal finance. Learn about how money works in this world. And you will be much more secure and much less fearful. This is Dr. Deborah Ekstrom from the Money Loves Women podcast. To your health, to your wealth, and to your happiness. May blessings rain down upon you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Money Loves Women podcast. Please leave us a rating and review so we know how we can improve. Visit moneyloveswomen.com to gain more insight into how to live an extraordinary life.